days and welcome, of course, to another Extreme Business Set Mind series with amazing Lee Taniware, broadening all the way from Ireland, and myself, Paul Rees, coming in from West Wales. And I mean, just so you know, before we get on these calls, we have like an hour kind of conversation of just fixing the world, mending hearts, and expanding, the ideas of how we live in life, I guess, in all kinds of ways. But we're not going into that today. But we do have a warm-up hour or so before we get on to this. It's amazing. But here's where we are today. I brought something in today, and again, for all those who are new watching our episodes, Lee has no idea what I'm bringing into the episode for us to brainstorm. That comes back to something else we talked about before the show, but that's not for today. Brainstorm and really open up to your awareness, your understanding, and all those beautiful things. So here it is, today's subject, and I'm going to worm into this slowly because this is something that an understanding of a way of doing, being, and thinking, emotionally, physically, mentally, biologically, in all those ways. And I learned that from Lee also. Those things is that this only came into my radar about 6 months ago from spending time with Lee and his his ECI community, which was the understanding. I'm going to put this into a question out to you, our audience, and then we're going to bring it into a reality, which is: are you the victim of somebody else's success? Are you the victim of somebody else's success? Now, let me just round that up a little. If you are someone that constantly gives, and gives, now I've done that. I didn't understand there was a difference between give and consume. I didn't get that difference. And I'm going to say that without sounding egotistical, and you can take this whichever way you wish, is that, I have a very powerful social media platform, radio show platform that I've spent 5 years investing in with other individuals, and that it became a highlighter for so many people to get that exposure. And I think it's important to know that this isn't a negative. The reason for the radio show was for me to bring some of the best minds in the world to the front to get that information shared. But also the realization is that I spent a lot of time making other people successful, and my success got basically pushed further and further and further back. And I didn't know that was something that you look at until Lee, you shared with me once and said, Paul, you're going to be a victim of somebody else's success. And the penny dropped. How many of you out there right now feel that you have to make somebody else successful to make yourself successful? And I didn't realize that was actually an illness, a business practicing illness that so many people do within the business environment. What's your thoughts, Lee, please?
Yeah, I've got loads on that one. It's I suppose to break it down quickly is if you looked at a day, because that's it, every second, minute, hour, day, week, month, year, is broke down into time slots. So if we break it on what the average human will do, they will sleep for 8 hours, they will work for 8 hours, 5 days a week. Now, work, I mean monetary work. That means because if they're not working to earn money or to create money, then their money's coming from somewhere. Or they haven't got a phone, they haven't got broadband, they haven't got a home, they haven't. So if they're not in that, they're not. These aren't the things that we have to do. These are just the way society's laid out. Mm-hmm. So we've got 8 hours for work, 5 days a week. Some of us might work more. We've got 8 hours for sleep. That's 16 hours. We've got 8 hours left for our general responsibilities, mum, dad, partner, like our own time, leisure, like gym, fitness, cooking, cleaning, all the sort of general stuff, like what some might call it housework. Mm-hmm. Washing your clothes, ironing your clothes, cleaning the house, fixing the car, getting the car MOT'd or NCT'd, whatever part of the world you're in, doing stuff for friends. So I think first of all we have to proportion our time. And what I mean by that is because there's so many layers to it. In business, there's a different category. It doesn't mean it's any better or worse. It just means there are different rules, and a lot of people aren't aware of the business rules in life, as in the boss, the business owner, the entrepreneur rules. And it's not their rules. They have a different way of doing things in their time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we're in a JOB type time frame, we already have commitments that everybody understands. Well, I can't because I'm working. Yeah. So an entrepreneur won't say I can't because I'm working. Yeah, because a lot of people don't see them as working. They think because they're the boss, they can take a day off any time they want.
Mm-hmm.
But they actually normally have to work harder, and they've got greater responsibilities on them, because especially if they've got employees, they have to earn the entrepreneur has to earn their own money, and they have to earn the employees' money, or at least get the employees focused on activities where the employees earn money that pay their wages and help pay the bills for the business and help the entrepreneur have a profit, which is after their wages.
Is that a victim of success?
Well, no, the victim of success is, see, what is success? And this is the thing, and I think this comes back to probably last week's one. It's your point of entry to success and your destination. What is success?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so what does, and bear in mind where we are when we start on our point of entry to success, as in it could be leaving a job to start our own business, with the illusion that having your own business gives you freedom, when it actually doesn't really. It does if you have the right systems, processes, procedures, and outcomes and plan in place. Yeah. But if you don't, what happens is you end up trading time for money, which means you basically end up being self-employed, which means you've created your own job.
Yeah.
So people go, I work for myself. Okay. So what does that mean? It means that you are your own employee.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you've got a business. When you work for yourself, it doesn't mean you have a business. Having a business is having more than you, not your wife or your husband working in the business and working for freebies.
But then giving that time away. So let's say.
Yeah, but when we go on about giving time away, when we're giving time away, if I give you this pen, does that mean you pay me? You have to be careful. You have to clarify the language. See, giving my time away, it means I'm gifting my time. Means I'm not expecting any reward, whether that reward be financial or whether that reward be a kiss or a cuddle or respect. When I give it freely.
Yeah.
So if you went into, say, Buddha, Buddha said, if I give you a gift and you don't want it, then who does the gift belong to?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So if I gift you this pen and say, Paul, this is your pen, I've got it for you. There you go, my friend. And you say, I don't want it. Who does the gift then belong to?
Wow, that was a question.
Still remains mine because you don't want it.
But you were giving it away. So if you were giving it away, that means you don't want it.
No, it doesn't necessarily mean I don't want it. A lot of people would think that way. If I give you something, gift you something, we've got the standard gifts, Christmas and birthdays, anniversaries. Yeah, we've got the standard times we give gifts, Easter. And whatever your religious beliefs are, there are certain traditions within certain cultures where we gift things.
Yeah.
When we gift them and they're part of our culture, we haven't really gifted them. It's part of our culture. It means it's expected of us. Now, if we align with the culture and we value the culture, then we're closer to giving. When I choose to go and buy Paul Rees something and gift Paul Rees something, it doesn't mean that I don't want it. I may very well want the thing I'm giving you. It means I value Paul Rees.
Oh, wow. I see that.
Now, if I give my time or gift my time to support somebody for free, then I'm gifting my time. If I'm gifting it for expectations or opportunities, then I'm not actually gifting it. I'm expecting something, or I've agreed on something. Well, Paul, I'll help you with X, but I want Y in return. Yeah. But when we genuinely go on,
do you think there's an overlap here? Because that there was a big highlighter there for me, which is people often gift to see another person become successful where there is no effective, there is no, I don't know, return.
No reciprocity. Yeah.
There's no growth. No, there's no equivalent. So let's say we are doing this year. So we are doing these videos every week, which means I am being able to draw out of you all your mindset, all your philosophies, all your experience, which is now going up onto YouTube online. And so many people every week are like, wow, they're getting huge wow factors from material from you that we wouldn't get if we weren't doing this. So the trade is you're giving me the time and I'm getting to push this out there. Now, the other layer to that is people are seeing Lee Tanya Ware perhaps in a shape they may never have seen him, but also my channel is getting kudos and growth for putting that out there. So we have a win-win.
Yeah, that's situation. A win-win, and that is a win-win-win.
But so many people don't. Yeah. They give, but don't actually. There's no win to it, which means they become successful.
Yeah, well, if you give within an ecosystem, so I might gift you something, or you give me something. It doesn't mean to say you've got to give me something back. Okay. If we're genuinely giving, so for example, I buy Ross something, yeah. So if I buy my wife something, do I buy my wife something because I'm trying to keep her happy because she's unhappy, or am I buying my wife something because I think she'd like it? I remember being in Bristol once with my son Tom. I was over speaking at an event, and we were flying back, and we had that downtime in the afternoon. The event was over and everything like that, and now we've got 4 or 5 hours to kill before you got to hear it before we get on the plane. So we walked around and we had a look what was on the pictures, had a look at something to eat and that, and I saw this handbag. And you might think, well, yeah, I've never bought a handbag before in life. But from listening to Ros and knowing what Ros liked and what she didn't like, I was walking past this shop and I saw this handbag and I thought instantly, oh, Ros would love that. Mm-hmm. I had no reason of buying it. I was overworking. It weren't like I was on holiday and expected to bring a holiday gift or send a postcard. Yeah, I don't know about you. When I go on holiday, I don't want to think about nothing. I don't want to think about postcards, and I don't write very well. If you got one from me, you'd have trouble working out what it was anyway. But I saw this handbag, and I went straight in the shop. And even Tom said to me, "What are you doing?" I come out with this bag and handbag, and like my eldest son looked at me and sort of said, "You're right, Dad." But I knew what Ros would like, and I didn't buy it for me.
Right.
And I didn't buy it for anything to do with me at all. I bought it because I didn't. You think I bought a gift, a handbag? I didn't buy a handbag. I bought a feeling.
Oh wow!
I knew that my wife would love that handbag. Now I didn't buy the handbag so Ros would love me.
Yeah.
I bought the handbag because I knew the sort of stuff Ros liked, and I thought, oh, Ros would love that. And when I gave it to her, her face lit up. Now, Ros might have felt like, as in reciprocal, as in what? Like, would you want a cup of coffee? Do you want this? Do you want that? And she might, because that's part of the, let's say, the kiddie bit in us. I'm not saying Ros was like that. What I'm trying to say is we have this piece when somebody gives us something that we have to repay.
Yeah.
And it's a good feeling to have. It's a form of gratitude. It's a form of respect. It's a form of decency. It's a form of empathy. Another human has seen us and thought of us for no reason. Now, when we give like that and we receive like that, to me, that's normal.
Well, if we look at that in another state, then in the sense of another emotion, so not that particular event, because it's husband and wife, but business to business. I believe that there are so many people that are giving.
Yeah, but in business to business, business is commerce, which means really, if we follow the rules of business, there's no giving.
But then there's a lot of that emotion that you just spoke about there with yourself and Roz that's tied up with so many business people doing for others, no return. That other person begets a success. That person that's the giver is assuming.
Because and I get what you're saying, but business is business. Let's keep that's the core of business.
Yeah.
Being decent in business and looking out for people, that's the human side. So ideally, you should have both. But when the victim of somebody else's success, if you flip it round, it's not when you give because you're choosing. If you're being manipulated into it or expecting into it or pressured into it in some way, that ain't giving, that's being controlled. Well, I have to do it. If I don't, what will Paul think of me? So we have to have some form of protocol on how we interact with people like that, where we can say, well, I can do this for you, but I can't do that. Well, why can't you do that? Well, I can do that, but that bit I would have to charge you for. Now, if we've come out of, because sometimes the problem isn't them, it's us. That we, as humans, have these, I don't know, it's your 10th birthday party. And you've got to invite the whole class. Yeah, but I don't like half of them. You've got to invite the whole class. You can't leave people out. Yeah, but I don't want, there's a couple there I don't like. They bully me. They call me names. They take me stuff, whatever. Well, you can't exclude people.
I remember that on my birthday.
Yeah. And you say, hang about, like it's my birthday. So now I've got to gift people I don't like. So let's call that a form of maturity. You have a wedding and you got to invite Aunt Gladys, who you don't really like. I mean, she's always having a pick at everybody or anybody. Perhaps if you didn't invite her and she asked you, well, I didn't get an invitation to your wedding. Yeah, do you know why? Me, I would tell them. I wouldn't have anybody sitting at my table that I'm paying for their food and I'm gifting a day for them to witness my union. Why would I have anybody in the room, that all they're going to do is moan and complain and upset other people's days? Why would I put that person in? Because I've got these rules that say I can't leave bad people out. Oh, me, I leave bad people out. I'll lock them out. I don't want them. Anybody that shows up in the real world, whether it's in business, now there's ways of dealing with it, because if you deal with it the wrong way, you end up with you all getting a rap on the knuckles for putting something right. Because so a victim of other people's success or a victim of other people's attitude, your attitude is your attitude. If you're coming in with a bad attitude, I almost spelt bad with an S then. If you're coming in with a bad attitude, you've got to realise a bad attitude is quite toxic. Now, a firm attitude, some people might say my approach is very real.
Yeah.
But I'm never disrespectful. Like I say, I mean what I say, but I'm never mean with what I say. But whether I think you've seen me, Paul, whether I'm in front of 100 people or what, I'm the same person.
Yeah.
And if you say something to me in front of a group and you're trying to utilize the group reality to control me, worst thing in the world to do with me, because I would just say, no, I don't do that here. What do you mean you don't do it? I don't do that. And they're my rules. I don't do that. So if I want to give something, I give it. If somebody expects something of me and I feel it's a low expectation, I feel, well, that's where they are. And because I value them, I will gift that out of peace and harmony, unity and sincerity. However, if they take an inch and then they want to take a yard, if I give in the inch and they want to take a yard, then I will say no. And no is a complete, full, sentence. No, and I would say, no, I can't do that. And they normally come back with why? Because it's against my principles and my values. It's against my sense of community and harmony.
Do you think then, so Lee, there's a difference in giving something as a gift and giving something out of desperation to try and, or not desperation, maybe out of investment in order for yourself to, so let's take my example.
If you give something as investment, then you're not actually giving, you're investing.
Okay.
So that's a bit like me giving you 10 quid for your birthday and going, I'm going to come back when you're like 50, Paul, and I want my interest. You can keep the tenner, but I want whatever it's compounding. When we get, it's because in business, if we're giving, there's no return on the time. There's no return on investment. There's no ROI.
Is that how we
So
become a victim of somebody else's success?
no,
By not
no. A victim
understanding.
a victim of somebody else's success is where they're utilizing your skill capital, and they're
Say that
utilizing
again.
it
Skill.
where they're utilizing your skill capital.
Oh my God, that's massive. Skill capital.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's where they expect you. Now, if it's your mate and you went to school with them, somebody else.
Wow.
And it's not a science. It's not, you don't do it on Wednesdays with John, but you can do it on Fridays with Fiona. It don't work that way. Me, I like to keep the same rules for everybody because otherwise it gets a bit confusing. Because then if I say no to Paul, but I say yes to John,
Yeah.
then I must value John more and value Paul less, or I value myself more when with Paul and value myself less with John.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
So how do I organically say no to Paul? Sorry, Paul, no, I can't. Oh, I understand, Lee. I hope you don't mind me. I'll say, no, no problem, mate. If I had the time, I would. And if I genuinely, and that's authentic, then that's real. It might be the time factor. And 2 weeks later, John asked me, and I do it for John. And then Paul finds out I've done it for John. And you go, well, Lee, I asked you the same thing. And you said yes to John. Yeah, but I did say to you at the time, Paul, I was happy to do it for you. It was your timing was off, but I already had other commitments, so I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
John happened to ask me when I had a free 2 hours in my diary, and I was able to do it for him. I did say to you at the time I was happy to do it for you, but I couldn't because of time. If it was any other date, Paul, I could do it.
Yeah.
So if it's I'm happy to do it, but my time or my other commitments are already in my diary. So if you ask me lastminute.com, yeah, the chances of you getting in my diary, and you're mate mine, Paul, if you phoned me today and said, Lee, can I have 20 minutes? I mean, for me, and it's bank holiday on our side, for me to find 20 minutes in my diary, I time block my day out. And I organise my time. So somebody coming to me, and I get asked to speak at loads of events. I mean, I was asked to do, when we were at that Clontarf, that real world event that you were at with me.
Yeah.
I was asked to do team building for a big company, a very well known company. And I had to turn them down because I already had another commitment. I couldn't have said to everybody that was coming to that event, I'm sorry, people, I got a better offer.
Yeah.
Because that would let them down, but it was also damage my relationship, my relationship with them, and it also damaged my reputation. And people don't always understand that in business. See, in family, your son or your daughter can let you down, or you can let your son or your daughter down. You can let your mum down, or your mum can let you down, or your dad, or vice versa. And we make allowances. So, and parents sometimes they make a lot of allowances. Yeah. So, and they do a lot for their kids to support them. And sometimes if they're used to that and it becomes very entitled, I don't think that's a healthy relationship for anybody to be, or like to literally, I don't know, throw their underpants on the bathroom floor and expect mum or dad to pick them up. They don't expect dad to pick them up. They expect mum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me, rightly or wrongly, I go, Josh, yeah, red underpants, they're yours, mate. Yeah, they're on the bathroom floor. All right, yeah. Yeah, I'll translate that for you. They shouldn't be. Pick them up now and put them in the linen basket. Because there ain't no servants in our house.
Yeah.
And I can't bring up men or women, yeah, in a world of entitlement. If they're responsible, then they pick up and clean up after themselves. I don't beat them to do it, but I hold them accountable for their own autonomy. If by chance they're rushing for their first day at work, I'll pick them up. If by chance they got a sore arm, sore back, I'll pick them up. I'll take them to the toilet. I'll do anything I have to and to support them because I give my love to them.
Yeah.
If it's expected of me, the door gets shut, the door gets locked, and I say, no, this is how we interact as honourable humans. Now, I might use that language with my kids, if they utilize sympathy as a tool to control, or utilize age to create empathy, as in, well, Dad, I wouldn't do it. I've got 11 kids. I mean, I've seen so many different combinations of BS, belief system communication. When you take that into the workforce, I mean, I'm not being funny. If you look at it logically, rationally, not saying anyone listening to this or watching this doesn't, but if we actually look at it logically, you're in class, and bear in mind, I ain't got a lot of experience here. I left school at about eight and a half years old. So you're in class and you got this pecking order, and everybody has their place, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then if you fit into that place where you fit in. You got to fit in. If you don't fit in, you're an oddball. And who wants to be an oddball? And if you don't fit in, you're an oddball. And oddballs aren't normally liked; they're seen as a problem. Mm-hmm. And so you end up compromising who you are. That's a bit like eating pepperoni pizza, and you don't like pepperoni, you don't like pizza.
Yeah.
And then you come out of school and you go to college or uni, similar environment. Yeah, and you're sitting there and you see that big football player or that good looking girl, and you think, well, yeah, I'm not a 10 like her, or I ain't got muscles like him. And we fit in again.
Yeah.
And then we come out with our certificate and we go into JOB, or we go start our own company. When we go into JOB, let's take it, we fit in again. Now, and then we go after, I don't know, 20 years or 30 years of this fitting in, we go, they keep passing me over for promotion. Well, yeah, you've always sat and excluded yourself in the class ever since you went to school. And when you go, it's not other people. They're not going to see you if you don't show up. If you keep fitting in, you fit it into a certain place in society.
Does that...
And well, that's a way of being a victim of other people's success, because you give them permission. Yeah, that's one part. There's so many different variables. If I feel I have more value than Paul, well, Paul, like, you're good at interviews, and I need to interview 3 people. I need it done next week, next Thursday. Well, I'm busy next day. Yeah, well, you're going to have to move things around, mate. Now, if you're not my employer and I'm not paying for your time, and I haven't scheduled it and laid it out and planned it and communicated with you, I've got no authority over Paul Rees. I breathe for me, you breathe for you. If somebody's taking your breath or your heartbeat, to focus your energy or efforts on them, if they're asking for it or expect it, and I don't care if it's your son, your daughter, your wife, your husband, your partner, I don't care who it is, anybody that tries to take my breath and my heartbeat or turn me into a muppet or a puppet. Now, puppet is when they put strings on you and they make you do things you don't want to do. If you're in a JOB and you're getting paid for it, that's the agreement. They're going to give you the tasks and you're going to do them. So if you're a delivery driver, I need you to take these packages and take them to there. Yeah, if you're a hotel manager or whatever, you've got certain expectations that society has on you. If I'm a human, there ain't no expectations on me. I decide if I'm an autonomous, real, in my skin, stood up inside human, then I choose. Now, when we're in a relationship, I can say, well, I'm in a relationship with Paul and I do everything for Paul. Yeah, now, when I do everything for Paul, everything I can to support him. What does that mean? Does that mean Paul does nothing for you? Because this is the problem sometimes. We're so entitled that we actually are toxic in our communication and deny we ever said it. Well, I do everything, Paul. I've always supported him for years. Behind every great man, there's a great woman. But behind every great woman, is there a great man? I don't know.
Probably not.
Now, I would agree with that in my life with Roz. However, I was very successful and I never had a woman in my life.
Okay.
I was very successful and I had loads of properties. I was respected in the community. I was like seen and valued, but I didn't have a woman in my life. And I'm not like having Roz in my life and us working together, totally different world. Absolutely brilliant to have somebody around you where we support each other. But to imply because I'm successful that Roz is being controlled or is a victim of my success, because that's how sometimes it's been. We take it into mainstream. Behind every great man is a great woman, implying that the man wouldn't be anything without the woman, And that the woman now literally has committed everything to the man, and the man wouldn't have been successful without the woman. And the woman now is the victim of the man's success, and he goes off and gets somebody else. And there's loads of ways to look at it in a relationship, but if we're autonomous, and there are men and women and whatever nowadays, I don't know. Yeah, and I don't mean that derogatory. I don't know. Yeah, it's changing all the time. But what I mean, and where I want to stay focused on, nor am I being derogatory towards what anyone else believes or thinks, is that I look to serve people to a good standard of respect and decency behind their back and to their face. Reputation is what people say about you when you're not there. Being present and being yourself is being authentic. Whether they like it or not doesn't mean to be disrespectful. Being honest isn't, like I said before, I don't like Paul's glasses. Yeah. Now, me saying, well, Paul obviously likes them glasses. I like these glasses. Yeah. We just got different tastes. And if Paul breathes for himself and thinks for himself and feels for himself, then Paul decides what Paul likes. Just because Paul wears something I don't like doesn't make Paul stupid. It actually makes him authentic. Somebody being honest with you and saying, like, back to the victim of success, if I'm being used and I feel that way, then I'm being controlled. If I'm being controlled, then I'm putting the effort in for somebody else to benefit. Now, if I'm doing that and supporting somebody, back to saying, I'm sure there are the relationships behind every great man, there's a great woman, and the woman has looked after the family, and that they've decided wasn't toxic, as in, right, you stay at home. They've decided, well, we want a family, we want this home, and they've chosen all these things together. And the woman has, like Roz had done it for me for years, like helped me in so many different ways. And with that help, I was able to work with somebody that I knew wanted me to be successful, but my success was her success also. Just because I had the name and I was seen in public, and anybody that hears me speak on a stage, I always speak highly about Roz. I mean, I done a speech at Croke Park, biggest sports stadium in Ireland. And one of the first things I said to the audience was, I don't know if you've ever seen that film As Good As It Gets, where Jack Nicholson says, I feel like I want to be a better man. I said, there's my wife there. She's the one that made me feel like I wanted to be a better man. So I stand before you, because I love that woman so much. I wanted to be a better man.
Wow.
Yeah. And I genuinely meant it. So I've never hid from the fact that Roz's support, and love and staying up late, getting up early for us and our family. I've never once, don't run around every day, thank you, love, but to express it, and even on this, to say it. So I'm not denying that there aren't, and the roles can be reversed. I know women that are actually very successful, and but sometimes we have to look, if we're autonomous and real and authentic and genuine, sometimes the tasks and the do and the pressure, we don't always think straight. And then we get held accountable for something we didn't deliberately do.
All right.
And that is another form of victim of success, because now I might be the victim of my own success.
There's so many shapes to this, Lee, isn't there? We are coming to the fine. Well, we're out of time. We've gone over as we always do, but there are so many shapes to this, and there's so many things we get out of it, which is
the takeaway.
Because
the takeaway, and it comes back, I say over and over again, is an audit. Why is it an audit? Because you have to get off the conscious algorithm. You have to look. And if we're valuing people organically, or we're valuing people as shiny objects, or we're valuing people what we can get for them, then we're not actually valuing people at all. If we can't, I'm fed up with Ross now because of this. I mean, there's loads of things that can happen in our relationships, whether they be professional or personal in our family. And I learned something very profound when I was very young, probably, I don't know, 26, 25, 26. Always was fascinated with the mind. Yeah. So done loads of courses. Worked with some phenomenal people. I mean, I was privileged to work with Orman McGill. Orman McGill wrote the first stage encyclopedia on hypnosis. I mean, a book about that big. 89 years old he was when I worked with him. I don't know how old I was then, 28, something like that. Lose track of the years now. Absolutely phenomenal guy. I always had an interest in hypnosis. Anything to do with psychology or micro expressions, body language. I mean, everything. And I became qualified as a hypnotherapist, yeah, and was doing psychotherapy and that, and was doing it was the thing I was interested in, yeah. So I started up a practice, and before I knew it, I was actually fully booked, yeah. So, and then I was going to bring a friend of mine on. He's dead now, Mike Irvin. Even thought about putting I lived in Essex at the time, and I had this big garage I was going to convert it. It was a double garage, like double width, and it went back, as in you could park 4 cars inside of it. So I was going to split it into 2 big therapy rooms, and Mike was going to come and work with. Then I realised, no, I didn't want to turn it into a business. It was more an interest, and it had turned into a business, even to the point that I was asked to do courses on how to have a successful hypnotherapy or psychotherapy practice, because I was flying and other people were struggling. But I already had the business acumen to put with.
Yeah.
So I'd done a couple of courses on it just to show people how to get more people in their business. But that isn't where I was going with it. I got a lady referred to me by a doctor, and she was terminally ill. And he phoned me up and he said, I've heard you're very, very good at what you do. He said, I don't know if you can help me. He said, I've got a patient. She said she's got weeks to live. And she's accepted that she's got such drama in her life. She doesn't want to leave this earth with the relationship with her daughter damaged, and they haven't spoken for years. I don't know if there's anything you can do for her, Lee. If you can, I said, well, give her my number. We'll have a chat. Anyway, long story short, she came to me, had a couple of sessions with her, and we came up with a plan to put things right with her daughter, and it worked. But she was part of a support group of terminally ill patients.
Okay.
And she was able to put something right that she hadn't, like literally 15 years she had spoken to her daughter, and now she's got weeks to live, and now she wanted to, and it wasn't for her. This comes back to gifting or victim. She knew there was something bad between her and her daughter. Some of it was her daughter, some of it was her, but she wanted it. She didn't want her daughter carrying the burden after her death.
Okay.
She wanted her daughter to be free. I mean, a really nice gift. She wanted peace in her daughter, so her daughter didn't regret or whatever. Anyway, long story short, she actually lived about a year longer than she should have done.
Wow.
And anyway, long story short, she was part of the support group, and I ended up with probably 80% of my clientele after time all being terminally ill people. And the insight I got from it, as in about being present, because they got out of the future when they knew they never had one.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And they got out, they tidied the past up really quick, and they became very present. 80% of them got very present very quick. They valued the moment, they valued that breath, they valued that heartbeat, they valued the interactions. But one thing they done was they knew who they wanted to spend their last few weeks, days, or months with. And they made a list of people. And they go, yeah, so the Aunt Gladys's, like, I'm not just using that as a name, that they didn't want at the wedding, they actually even understood them a bit better. And they were reaching out to people that, in a sense, they disliked or they had conflict with, and going, Aunt Gladys, like, there's a few things you said to me as I was growing up that I didn't like.
Yeah.
And they had some real conversations without conflict, because it's very hard to argue with somebody you know that's going to be dead in a few weeks. A lot of people have a bit more perspective from. Value the heartbeat and the breath in somebody. when they speak to you, if they're speaking to you with aggression or pain, you gotta have that awareness and go, well, are they just toxic? Are they using me? What's actually going on inside that human? The challenge is we're not very authentic sometimes. We hide a lot from the real world. Doesn't mean we've got to show up and give everybody everything. But an audit first, but not an audit of judgment. An audit of, so if somebody's showing up in your life like Aunt Gladys that you don't really want at your wedding, your anniversary, what can you do to connect? What can you give there? Because I can guarantee you that Aunt Gladys could be a victim of somebody else's success, where she's been passed by, overseen, and she's not feeling happy about it. And anytime, like, I don't know, she's the last one you invite to a party. She knows she's not wanted there. She knows. I mean, so if we let go of our judgments, now, when we put it in the business world, we do need protocols, not judgments, policies and procedures, principles. I can't do that. I get asked loads of things weekly. Lee, can you do such and such for me? I can't do that. Why? It's against my community values. If it's something to do in a group and people want me to shine them out in the group, I don't mind working with anybody and helping them. But if somebody's trying to utilise what some might call my authority, and you know, Paul, I work with hundreds of people, and I run meeting after meeting, loads of the real worlds and virtual. So it's very easy for me to elevate somebody very quickly. And you could say, I was going to say, if they deserve it. What does that mean? It means if they're authentic. If they deserve it, if they got past some of the traumas and dramas of life to the point that when you do give them that, because behind every great person, there's another great person. Behind every great person, there's another great person, whether that be your wife, whether that be your partner. But a lot of people want to climb you as the ladder to success. And when they get up there and you're helping them up there, no benefit to you putting them up there. And then they turn around and go against you. That's the Mark Antony and Julius Caesar, see, stabbed in the back. That's where it comes from. So the victim of other people's success, Mark Antony, thought he had friends and he didn't. So some people beware of Greeks bearing false gifts.
Wow.
Somebody's being too nice. So an audit, awareness, when you hear the pain or the discomfort, whether it's your child, your partner, or somebody in business or an employee, very fine line, that one with employees, because sometimes some people use the sympathy. They want the money, but they use the sympathy. Well, it's my mum, and thing. If you can work with me for the next few weeks, Lee, still want you to pay me money, but I can't give you the same time or the same commitment. And you can work with people if they've been authentic with you.
There's so many there. I mean, this has been such a fantastic call. I mean, the realization is there are so many different shapes to being a victim of somebody else's success, which for me, I've learned so much again today, always. It's been absolutely fantastic. And of course, all you people watching this on YouTube, social media, please subscribe to our Set Mind Series episode. And please, any questions, know, like, trust, all those things, it's all part of our life for sure. And we will catch you this time next week. Have an amazing week. And we will say bye for now, Lee.
We will, sir.